category, and then they end up winning the one that they were against Browns live head-to-head.
Oh, boy.
And then it turns out, I said after the fact, I said, hey, next time you guys do a bill, just do one that I was featured in, and then I can get on it. And then Rick goes, well, you were in this one.
Oh!
And then poor new Rob's jaw was on the floor. I was like, oh, so I could have been listed on this one and just picked it up that way, by association, Emmy by association, which is not a bad Emmy either.
Oh,
so,
new Rob.
Sad. Drew Davidson, though.
Boy,
Drew Davidson.
sad.
What a human being he is. Just shout out to Big Drew.
Do we know if there will be – is he in the sombrero today?
The urban sombrero could be out today. I think that we know that it's in the mix.
Overcast.
I haven't asked him to put it on because I want to see it in nature. Like putting it on in your office, I don't want that. I want to see you walk out. I want to see it in nature as it was meant to be worn. And so today, not only all those names we went through, and there are even more. That's the great part about it.
More luminaries.
Hollywood,
even,
Jarvis, DPJ. Let's go. All of them are going to be out here. I want to see that. I want to see it in its environment as it was meant to be. Watching Browns football of notes, and that's what we're going to get to see today. It's not going to be football, right? There are no pads on, but this is the first time you're going to see all of these guys line up together. Speaking of New Rob, he is. Just got a shout out on the show, New Rob.
New Rob, you botched the Emmys. Sad.
And we're like, people consider us a tag team for a while. Like Benifer, they would have like a new Robthin was like our or a new Nath Rob.
Now.
That's what they're now. No, now we're separate entities. Robthin was good. I liked it. Yeah.
All went to heck.
Yeah,
I agree with you on the urban sombrero. Look, we're coming out of 6 feet social distance. I think you need 6 feet of social distance to wear the sombrero.
It would appear that way.
I don't think you want to be in tight
tremendous width.
I don't know what that brim's going to do to you.
It's going to protect you from the sun. That's what it's going to do. But
no better than that bucket hat you're wearing right now.
Oh, no. The bucket hat.
I brought mine, and then I made the executive decision based on headset. Because the headset situation with the bucket hat, it can – but I love nothing more than a bucket
hat. I feel like I've navigated it all right here. I mean, it's not great.
I think with that Punim, you can navigate anything you want. What do you want to do? You can wear whatever you need to do.
Sure.
So this will be exciting. We see some of in terms of what's going on out here, you see some people starting to set up. The fields look spectacular. If you were to Chamber of Commerce Berea the day, this is what you would draw up.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of cloud cover, not too much sun, but it's nice and warm. It's what my wife likes to call no temperature, she calls it, where you're not hot, you're not cold, you just are, and that's what we feel right now.
Does she like a no temperature?
Oh, she loves a no temperature. Her favorite time of the day is like in probably like 5 o'clock or a 5:30. She calls it the golden hour for the sun, where she's just going to bronze up nicely, no fear of burning, no temperature in the air. You can just sit out there. If you like a rosé, sure, have one. If you want a nice little habanero marg, go for it. A little John Daly, sure, why not? Whatever you want, because it's no temperature. You're not forced. You're not dictated in anything. You're just existing.
I like no temperature.
Just existing.
Yeah, that's very good. So the San Diego, Santa Barbara would be her wheelhouse. Perth, Australia, like those would be
Perth. Yeah.
That would really be
one of the best high school basketball players I ever saw was from Perth, Australia. He transferred into our school when I was a young man, when I was still the ball boy for the team. And we were running 6'9", Doug Muse at center, who went to go play for UC Santa Barbara. And then this 6'5" kid, Jamie, I forget his last name, was from Perth, Australia, who transferred in. And he was just like dunking on everybody.
Just a dude.
He was just a dude.
I bet he was inspired by Andrew Gaze.
Sure.
Who could flat out shoot it.
Was that Seton Hall? Do I have that right?
Could.
Andrew Gaze? Feels like
it. I feel like that's right.
PJ Carlissimo days?
Yeah, it's possible.
He had gray hair in college.
Well, what are you going to do?
It took me at least a decade out before that happened to me.
So what we're going to get today is just a little aperitif.
That's right.
That's what this is going to be. A little taste of the main course, which is coming, and it'll just be cool to see the dudes, man. We haven't seen them in a long time.
Some might call it an amuse-bouche. When you go to a very fancy restaurant, the chef, I'd like you to start your meal with this nice amuse-bouche to cleanse your palate and prepare you for the delights that are to come.
What is your hit rate on that in the times that you've had it? Has it ever been – like, are you ever – because you almost never know what it is.
Yeah.
Almost never know what it is.
Yeah.
It's usually cold.
Yeah.
It's usually something that you wouldn't anticipate being cold, served cold, I find. Like some sort of there's usually a tomato or a squash situation.
There can be. I find when it's sometimes it's a cold soup, like a vichyssoise, which would be a cold potato leek soup, or a cold melon soup.
Yeah,
those
melon.
Are good. If I ever see tuna in it, I know I'm good. As soon as they throw like an egg in there or something, for me personally, I'm not in. So I'm going to say my career amuse-bouche ratio of success is probably, or percentage would be probably about 51%.
I think that's a nice number.
Yeah, better than half.
Yeah,
but
you're always going to eat it. I'm always going to eat it. I'm going to try it. I appreciate the effort. It's just a matter of the hit rate is,
Now, what I like, the 100%er is when they come between, like, the apps and the main course. Yeah. And they hit you with, like, a little lemon sorbet to totally just –
There's not a single – that's
undefeated.
Yeah, that's Mike Trout. I mean, that's like an OPS of 1,200, if that even makes sense for the baseball people.
And you don't even know how the wonders it's doing for you.
No,
it's really setting you up to enjoy your entree.
To what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little refresher.
That's good. This is going to be.
We got players making their way out here, including some jacked dudes. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
That is a big human.
Yeah. This is a really awesome couple of days for the organization, for Browns fans, most especially for Browns fans. That event that Jarvis had over the weekend was sensational.
Yep.
We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Your reaction and your love of this franchise and this team is so tangible. And I'm telling you, I've talked to a lot of guys who played in the league, been around the league. I know you have too, about just that scene. I was talking to Jake Trotter about it this morning. He said, Beau, it might as well have been like the opener.
Like a Super Bowl.
It's like the season opener. Like the people were that jacked up for this. And you can see it. That reception that the players got and the way that they know what this means to this fan base. I said this a long time ago. There is a collegiate feel to the way that this town feels about its team, and I mean that in the highest form of compliment. It's a love affair that goes back decades and generations, and you can think of no better representation to deliver on an anniversary season than the roster that Andrew Berry has delivered. And to be able to see this team and Paul DePodesta, the team that they have delivered, to see it out there in uniforms, in helmets, no pads, obviously, and it's not real practice. We get it. This is just a little taste. But to see this team be delivered to you is going to be a remarkable thing this year.
It's going to be a real treat, and I got a chance to talk with Jarvis earlier today, as a matter of fact, and he said that's why he loves being here, the passion that these fans have, the just complete dedication to this team. And there have been hard times, Daddy, and the Browns fans have stood by it, and no, I say it all nobody deserves it more than to have this. And it's set up. It's on paper. Now, you're going to have to navigate injuries. You're going to have to navigate a great many things. But it is possible. The potential is there, and this team is being regarded around the league. You heard Travis Kelce say, we're neck and neck with the Chiefs. This team is regarded as a team that is a legitimate Super Bowl contender with real aspirations. And I would say let's just start with one thing and one thing only: winning the AFC North.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
You win the AFC North, you're in the dance, and you get to have a home playoff game. I want nothing more.
That's it, man.
Than a home playoff game. And that also means you win your division, you have the potential to host the AFC Championship.
Yep.
Want that as well. Then we'll go on to the Super Bowl. But let's start with one thing, and that's being the best in our division, winning the AFC North. And this is the best roster in the AFC North.
Yes, it is.
And when you have the reigning coach of the year, it's not crazy to say maybe he doesn't have the longevity or the book of success that Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh have with the Steelers and Ravens respectively. But when you've got the reigning coach of the year, you have to say, or at least in the conversation, to have the best coaching staff in the division as well.
Well, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I mean, last year was this is pretty remarkable, and I feel confident saying it. Last year was a 12-win season with a let's just make it work.
Yeah,
was the
defense.
deal.
On the defense.
Yeah.
That's
Let's just make it work. And even offensively, because you didn't have an off season. You didn't have a traditional camp. You didn't have meetings. Like, all the new faces, Baker learning on the job, all of those things. This was a let's just get through it, let's make it work, and we won 12. So when you have a full off season, you have a defense that has all the components now that Joe Woods needs to employ the defense that he wants to employ. Now you see why there is what it is. And you talk, how many guests, I mean, that's what's fun about it. This is the middle of June, right? You and I have had, Giant P. Gibby. I mean, how many guests have we booked? in this offseason.
A
1,000. If we've had one, we've had 1,000. And we ask all of them this roster. And we usually ask the question, top 5 or 6. And maybe there's 98% hit rate say, yeah, it is. It's a top 5 or 6 roster in the league. And that's what's been done. And it's a roster that fits with what the guys who are putting it together want. It fits what Joe Woods wants. It fits what Kevin Stefanski wants. And so you will get this organization in full this fall. And for it to be an anniversary year as well, it's about as special as can be.
Yeah, and not to mention, I think you guys are all in for a real treat when maybe you get to see the new, something special in the closet for this season as well.
Boy.
So maybe that could be something to look forward to. But, we had the great pleasure before coming out here of speaking with, really one of the ascending stars in this building and nay, the league, Megan Rock. And Rock is
legend.
Such a legend, and she's so fired up. And, she said, I just work for the best people.
Yep.
And she's talking about Andrew Barry, Paul DePodesta, and Kevin Stefanski. And she works for the best people. And I think it's a people business.
Sure
and they
is.
have made this roster. You take calculated risks here and there. Malik McDowell would certainly fall into a calculated risk category.
Yep.
You take those risks and try to assemble a culture that is in your ilk, in your mold. And certainly Kevin Stefanski has drilled that down, all about the work. I mean, I talked to Jarvis today and just asked him, how excited are you for the season? And, of course, he's excited. The first thing he says is, like Coach says, we're all about the work.
Yep.
We're all about the work. And so it's there. The table is set. And, again, I, as somebody who's now lived in this glorious city for more than 2 decades, am never going to wish for an acceleration on July, August.
No.
Because we need to cherish
we gotta
these
live
months.
In it. Yeah,
and
live
we've
in
gotta
these 2
live.
months, kids.
But
Live them.
I
Enjoy them.
can't wait. September, what is it, the 15th, September 12th, one of those days when we head to Kansas City. And I kind of like that it's being discussed that this is a budding rivalry. We need to beat them at some point.
I think what it
for
is
it to be a budding rivalry.
Yeah.
People recognize game. Travis
Yeah.
Kelce recognized. By the way, speaking of game, what tremendous camo shorts.
You like that?
Boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. They're real special, see?
Real special, see?
I really like them.
Because it's camo, see?
They're real comfortable, buddy.
I bet.
I'll tell you, there is a feeling of, and we talked about this yesterday with Ben Albright in regard to the Broncos. This AFC is going to be it feels like it's on the cusp where we are, where the Chiefs are, where the Bills are. I dare even talk about Miami with Watson, Denver with Rodgers. That's terrifying. But just the idea of, we haven't even mentioned, obviously, Baltimore, Tennessee, I think is going to be, I know Ben doesn't like them. I don't like them as much either.
I don't like their D, but
I don't like their D, but the offense is tough. And you say to yourself, my goodness, this AFC, and that's, so what you said is where I think is the real point here. Get an at-bat.
Yep.
That's what you want. You want an organization that can get some at-bats. Get in the dance, take some shots, and be a consistent threat. There is no promise of Super Bowl championships. There's no promise. Those are hard to come by.
That's right.
You can draft guys and you can do everything right, and sometimes it just doesn't come together, and it's hard to explain why it does or doesn't. But what you want is at-bats, and you want teams that matter. The Kozar teams did not win a Super Bowl, but those teams mattered.
They changed the culture of the city.
They changed everything. And so of course, the goal, hoist the Lombardi, and nobody here will rest until they do. But what you want is consistent at-bats.
Yep.
It's what Ohio State has in the college football playoff. They get at-bats. That is the thing. You're in the mix, and we are set up, at least, to be in the mix.
I mean, think about the Chiefs.
Yep.
AFC Championship loss.
Yep.
AFC Championship win, Super Bowl win. AFC Championship win, Super Bowl loss.
Yep.
But they got the one, and they got there, and they were in contention. You get 3 at-bats, 1 for 3, you're Wade Boggs. You're hitting 333, and everybody's feeling great about you.
Yeah.
By the way, those of you in your pools who had Blake Hance as the first player to walk out today, cash your ticket.
There it is.
Blake Hance was first. Andy Janovich second. Stiff Arm Steve third. That's Win Play Show.
There you go.
Blake Hance.
Cash your tickets.
A guy named Blake played left guard today, and he is the first person out here for the mandatory minicamp. Some beautiful Adirondacks covered for the players where they have parked their keisters in the moment as they get ready to really start to get out there and get into the stretching, which would
I got to tell you,
about a half hour.
As an Adirondack goes, that is a fantastic with the striping.
Oh, it's a beaut. It's a beaut.
Isn't that a real beaut?
Folks, you've got a brown
Hollywood, or is that you think of?
No, that looks real. That looks like
a real wood.
Yeah, it looks real to me.
It's very impressive.
A balsam, perhaps.
Yeah, very good. Anytime you work a balsam in, I don't even know if you could make Adirondack.
I don't know, but if you could, it might look like this.
It would smell good.
A brown bottom and armrest, and then the back is orange, 2 panels of orange on either side, and then one brown with white in the middle.
There you go.
There it is.
Going to be very, very exciting. Lots to get to. The team will be out here probably about a half hour from now, already starting to make their way out here on the field. They are matriculating their way out right now. So lots of fun on the program today. Look forward to bringing it all to you over the course of the next couple of hours. Coming up next, Denzel Ward from the podium, off and running here. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Whether it's your siding, your roof, your driveway, your deck, or your patio, with over 20 years in business, PPW, the experts at restoring your home's curb appeal and making your neighbors jealous. Don't spend time in the hot sun lugging around a heavy power washer all weekend just to try to get a fraction of the results that PPW can get. Their process is super easy. Takes 5 minutes on the phone. Now I have the cleanest home on the block. Z does too.
That's
and
right.
Don't put it off any longer because due to high demand, the schedule filling up fast. Call the pros today. 888-860-WASH and show your home some love. Use the promo code BEAU to get 10% off. Pro Bowl Corner, Denzel Ward at the podium before today's mandatory minicamp. Let's have a listen.
Hey, Denzel, good to see you.
You're down.
Hey, remember, did you hit a home run on Saturday?
No, I'm not much of a baseball player. I got on base, though, but I didn't hit a home run. I tried.
Seems like you guys had a good time, though. Hey,
No.
with all the new faces on defense, how quickly do you think this can come together? I know it's going to be a long camp and a bit of a process, but how quickly do you think you guys can get all aligned and on the same page?
I think we could definitely get on the same page. A lot of guys came in kind of early as well to get some work with one another, and we're out there and getting accustomed to each other and the plays and learning the playbook. So I think it'll all come together.
Hey, Denzel, from being out there past couple of weeks, what are your early impressions of Greg Newsome II?
He's looking good. He's looking like a player. He's looking real good, like a good pick. So I'm excited to see once these guys get back, the rest of the offense, now that they're back and compete against everybody. But he's been looking good out there.
And, we saw Greedy out there too. With Greedy working his way back, Troy Hill coming in, and I just asked you about Greg. What kind of cornerback?
Corners and all those guys could play. Everybody could play, and they shown that. So everybody just got to come out here and compete and do our job, and everything else will take care of itself.
Hey, Denzel, can you address the continuity you guys have on defense now? A second year in Joe Wood's program. What's the next step for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, definitely just with Joe Woods and the entire staff coming back, I definitely enjoyed that, not having to learn a whole new playbook. So, I mean, we're familiar with it. Besides the new guys, but we're familiar with it and could catch on to things fast, new things that they may want to put in.
Yeah, Denzel, I just wanted to ask you about that, the new things that you guys want to put in. Do you kind of get the sense with all the additions that were made this offseason that this defense and what you guys will be doing will be more reflective of what Joe really wants to do out there because now you got the guys to maybe get that done? Yeah,
I believe so. I mean, it's not that we didn't have the guys last year as well. I mean, we had good guys, good players last year as well that was able to produce and get us as far as we've gotten. But definitely with the guys this year, we're able to do a lot of things, and I'm sure Joe's going to take advantage of that.
And just the addition of a guy like John Johnson III, just what can that do for you and the rest of you guys in that secondary?
Yeah, he's already shown that he's a leader on this team. He's communicating out there, getting guys in position to play. And he's making plays out there, so it's going to be good having him on the team.
Hey, Denzel, has your agent had any talks with the Browns about an extension?
Yes, he has. He's having some talks.
And is that something, number one, you would really like to get done, and number two, maybe get done before the season so it's not any kind of distraction?
It's not a distraction to me. I'm letting my agent take care of that. I'm focused on playing ball. I'm here on the Cleveland Browns. I'm just glad to be back in the building here at minicamp with all the guys ready to play. So I'll focus on playing football and not really worry about anything else.
Denzel, we just talked a little bit to Nick about this, but how much do you love playing here? How much is this the place that you want to be and remain? And how about just finishing out your career here? In a perfect world, would you be a Brown for your entire career?
Yeah, perfect world. I'll definitely want to be a Brown for my entire career. I'm from Cleveland. Team that drafted me, team that believed in me coming out of college. And I take a lot of pride and respect into that and just want to give my all to this team. So it's definitely a place that I want to be. I enjoy being a Cleveland Brown and giving them everything I got.
And I would imagine you'd enjoy nothing more than bringing a Super Bowl or multiple Super Bowls to your hometown.
Definitely. Just got to take it day at a time, though. Day at a time.
Hey, Denzel, you were one of the guys that was at OTAs the last couple of weeks. So I'm just wondering why you thought that was important that you were there and kind of what you guys got accomplished on that defensive side of the ball.
Definitely from a leadership aspect, I feel like just guys being able to see older guys as well going out to practice and competing and still trying to get better, I think it's big. But, I mean, I still wanted to come in and work on my craft, work on my game, and get with the guys, continue to learn the playbook, continue to run the plays. And so I feel like I got a head start coming in to this mini camp. And once we get back going into camp.
And Denzel, I got 2 quick ones for you. What was your reaction when you saw Andrew Berry bringing all those guys on defense all year? It started in the free agency and then continued into the draft.
Yeah, I was excited about it. I mean, I feel like he made some great moves. The entire organization made some great moves, great additions to the team that can help this team out.
And on Saturday when we talked to Travis Kelce, he said you guys were neck and neck with the Chiefs. Is that how you feel coming off that playoff loss and heading into this year?
Yeah, I definitely believe so. I mean, I don't see why not. I feel we could beat that team, beat whoever we line up against. We just got to do our job, and everything else will take care of itself.
Denzel, we always hear you guys talk about how connected pass coverage and pass rush are. So I just want to ask you about Jadeveon Clowney, Takk McKinley, being signed to join Miles, obviously Malik Jackson. What do you think about those guys adding to the pass rush and how it affects you?
Oh, man, that's huge. We need those guys. And, I mean, those guys usually, like you said, we're a tandem and it works together. So you can never have enough great pass rushers, and that's what those guys are. So looking forward to seeing those guys get after the quarterback and making my job easier in the back end guys.
You guys are up.
Good stuff there from Denzel Ward, and also good stuff out here at practice in terms of this team starting to get out here. There are luminaries
everywhere.
Out here. Dr. Drew is in a hat. It's not the Panama that we had hoped. It's sort of a floppy camo. Really could be an extra in certainly.
It is a Browns hat, though.
It is, yeah, but it's a Crocodile Dundee. I
feel
like
he's up on one side. G'day, mate.
Boy, just for Australian superfans, that's a good job.
How about the fact that he said that the reason he's not it's too big. He can't put a camera up there. Can't have a camera on his shoulder. It's so massive.
You were making a fantastic point. I sure had something to say after it. And as you were making, I look over and I saw the double deuce, and I just see Grant Delpit.
Oh,
and I just,
boy.
That's a real
What about
treat.
Grant? What about Takk McKinley over there?
Thing.
It is a beautiful thing. I'll tell you what, folks, you got to have your head on a swivel right now. Luminaries everywhere walking around. We're seeing the starting offense gathering there. The line, look at how they just naturally stand. Wills, Batonio, Treader, Teller, Conklin. It's just natural for them. Chubb's out there. Hoop, Baker is out there. And then defensively, oh, boy.
Oh, we got that horn ringing, too.
Oh, is that Myles Garrett on one side, Jadeveon Clowney on the other that I see? Oh. Because I believe it is.
Oh,
I believe that's
Clowney.
number 90 there.
That's an attention getter.
Sure.
All right. Listen, we got oh, it's a pure joy. It's a pure joy Tuesday, kids. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout, and then we're going to kind of walk you through everything we're seeing out here. And frankly, what we're seeing is this full team. And they're all here. So it's very, very exciting. This is the only place you're going to get it. You're going to get it coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Out here is something I like to refer to as a real treat, as this team is in full, Dr. Z.
Oh, they are, yeah. This is pure joy here. And so we've got two fields we're looking out kind of from the building out at the practice fields. And on the right field, you've got the offense going through their paces. And as I see split out left right now, number 13, Odell Beckham Jr., who –
man, isn't that
he looks good. He looks like he's running. He looked running, cutting. He looks
well, let's just
good.
talk about that just for a second, because
we?
This is the first time since the injury, that we've seen Odell.
Yeah.
We've seen the images, no question, of him working out. We heard from Jarvis over the weekend about the type of shape he's in, but it's been so long since we've seen him.
Yep.
And you're just remembered, oh yeah, we have him, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. There is, I think sometimes there's this thing where we forgot that, oh yeah, he was on this team before the injury. Like before it got good, he was here and still was off to a nice start to a season. You bring up the Dallas game, of course, where he was the best player on the field, and now to see him back, it does warm you. It warms you a little bit to say, oh yeah, 13's out there.
13 is out there. He's looking good. I mean, you just talk about household names everywhere you look, and that's what this team has. But you're right, Odell Beckham Jr., and I will fight this till I'm blue in the face, but the notion that we're better without him is absurd. Odell Beckham Jr., go watch that Dallas game, watch the out and up against Cincinnati.
Yep.
He makes us a more dynamic football team, and to see him running around, no brace on that leg. He's in a bucket hat, by the way. Good taste there. He looks great. Hollywood looks fantastic. Donovan Peoples-Jones looks jacked. I mean, his body looks to be in tremendous condition.
A little bit of a transfer. He was already an incredible physical specimen, but it looks like his arms and calves especially have been yoked up pretty good this offseason.
Yeah, he looks.
I mean, he looks really physical.
He does, and so we're closer where we're standing to the offensive side, but just from here, when you take a gander over there and you see 95 and 90 lined up on the same defensive line, I mean, it jumps out at you. Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett, we're seeing Denzel Greedy going through the team drills. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right now, sure, there's 22 right there as they do a little walkthrough, playing a little free safety, and he looks big.
Don't do it to me. It's
fun.
June.
No, it's time. Listen,
it's June.
You got to wet your beak a little bit here.
The beak is wet. I mean, look at him. He just looks sensational. I mean, it's amazing that there are guys, even amidst all of this star power, that there are guys who you just see him and you just go, my God.
Yeah.
And Grant Delpit is one of those guys.
Yeah,
you just see him and you just go,
that
doesn't look like someone who can play, who would have an ability to be that fast, that big, and be able to play safety. And he's such, he was such an inspired. The future was so inspiring watching him a year ago in camp, and now to be able to see him back out there again is very cool. And speaking of inspiring individuals, Nick Chubb, quite inspiring.
Oh, it is. This is inspiring. When you look out at this field and you see the talent that has been assembled by Andrew Berry, and even going back, starting with the Dorse and back to Sashi, all the talent that has been kind of put together, the picks that have turned into talent that is here assembled on this field right now, and you say to yourself, okay, let's go. Let's see this happen as both sides kind of going through their paces. We don't kick this thing off we got to go ahead and kick this thing off around 2:00, which is going to be a ton of fun. It's a great thing to see all of this talent out here, all of these guys going through the paces, ready to work. As we said, it's our first look at the 2021 Cleveland Browns. We spent so much time talking about the names that are going to be on offense, talking about the names on defense, and now we're seeing it. Here it is, live and in color, as they say.
Yeah, it is, and it's fun to see. And they're walking through things, as you mentioned, offense on one side, defense on the other side, and just kind of getting everybody going through their paces a little bit. And you've seen the defense. You saw most of the defense. Obviously, it is quite the attention getter when you brought it to my attention. I looked over there and I just saw McKinley, Clowney, Myles, and you just went, holy cow, that is a lot of physicality on the front end there. But it is cool to see this offense just kind of going through the paces, and Six out there just kind of walking through things, getting loose, and just seeing kind of the potential that could be untapped. And it's probably good for these guys too to get in and get to be around each other and just go through the paces a little bit, be refamiliarized. Obviously the heavy lifting is not going to be done here. This is hey, nice to see you again. Let's walk through some stuff and have some conversations, but
get some work.
get a little work in. And I think one of the big things that is going to be fascinating to see this year are we kind of stumbled into this conversation a little bit yesterday, but just what are some of the wrinkles that Kevin Stefanski can add to this offense? Who are some guys who's, how do we unlock some guys even a little bit more? What are some aspects that we maybe didn't use a year ago that we use more of this year? Is tempo something that we use a little bit more of this year? I mean, I think a lot of the thing that Coach was doing last year was in an effort to protect, the other side of the ball, and that will not be the case, I don't think, this year. I look at a guy like David Njoku, and I just think, boy, what's in store for him?
Yeah.
And there's only one ball, and there's a lot of people who want to eat, but boy, dispersing that food around is going to be fun.
Coming up with ways, right? And 'cause look, when you're Baker, all you got to do is play distributor. You can't take it all away.
Yeah.
They can't take away all the options, so you just go ahead and say, let the defense and even then the play call itself dictate where the football goes. But I'm just looking over there on the defensive side, and I see on the field right now together Greg Newsome, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and Grant Delpit, and I say to myself, those guys weren't even Browns a year ago in the sense that Delpit didn't play a snap for the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, he was here with the organization. But, I mean, those are 3 young studs added into the mix this season. Not to mention, we talked about the guys up front, but when you come out here, when we get a chance, and hopefully that will be the case, I don't know when the official word comes down on what training camp will or will not look like, but when you get a chance to see this team and you think about all of the guys, offense, we know all these names. We've seen them all.
Everybody.
We've seen every single one of them.
Yeah.
Hudson, obviously the rookie class, there are some new guys, Demetric Felton, Schwartz at wide receiver, Hudson on the line, but we've seen these guys.
Yeah.
There's as we've talked about, you have a nickel defense that probably on its own rates, top half of the league of guys who didn't even play for the Browns last season, play a snap, and you add that to Miles and Denzel, and that to me is a wild thing. Just looking over there, I'm like, it just, even from over here, and we're probably a nice wedge away. It's just an impressive-looking group on the defensive side of the ball where it's like, okay, there's a lot of dudes out there.
It just doesn't even look the same from a year ago defensively, just with the human beings.
Yeah.
We were not able to run out, especially by the time we got to, when we were the walking wounded that we ended up being on that side of the ball. We were never able to look at that side and see the type of physicality that we see. And I don't even necessarily mean that, although there's plenty of strength and size and that, but just height, length, the other measurables that we just didn't have. I mean, there are guys, you mentioned Owusu-Koramoah, like you just see him kind of striding around. You see Delpit striding around. Like they're just really impressive athletes.
And I think people forget Greedy and what Greedy looks like on the field.
Well, it's been a while,
fast.
yeah.
It has been a while, and I think he's kind of a forgotten guy in terms of this, newness. Didn't play a snap for the Browns a year ago. But this reminds me a lot of my days when I covered the Buckeyes, and you would go out to these practices and you would just say,
oh, yeah.
There's just a bunch of dudes out here. Like these guys, this looks like an NFL team, and then this for an NFL team. It's been, 9 of these for me?
Yep. Yeah, there is.
This is a different looking team from a physical standpoint.
That is, yeah. And I think the other thing, that you have to remember, and it's good that you harken back to that time covering Ohio State, because I think there will be a couple of parallels in that sense with this competition.
Yep.
Right? Because the competition at certain roster spots to make the roster is going to be nothing short of sensational, and it's going to be brutal, and there are going to be really good players who don't make this team. And we spoke yesterday, certainly on the defensive line. We talked about it, linebacker. I'm going to add offensive line to that mix. I mean, I'm looking down there, and there are a bunch of guys that I know who have played in this league and have done so at a high level, and or who you believe in. And you say to yourself, how many can you have?
Right.
Like you're not going to keep 11 offensive linemen. I mean, we had 8 last year. So, like, what does that look like? And how do you make this roster in some of those positions? And versatility will be a key to it. I think what we do at receiver is going to be fascinating. So there's a lot that's got to get sorted out. And this is the opening kind of salvo towards that end, is getting everybody out here, getting everybody running around, and just kind of walking through it all. And that's what you're getting here right now. And as you can probably tell by our tone, it's awful fun.
It is exciting, and it's no distractions. Everybody here, you name a name of note, somebody that you're counting on to play a big role for this football team, and they're here. I realize that it is mandatory, but it's mandatory around the league, and not every
Jamal
team.
Adams, it's mandatory in Seattle. He's not there.
Not there. Aaron Rodgers, well documented, not there. So this is what you want. This is what you want. We got through the OTAs. The offense did some of its work, by themselves. Everybody is here now, and now for the rest of the way, it's all mandatory. You have these 3 days. They get a break. Then they come back, and we're going to be into training camp. Next time we see them after Thursday will be training camp, and that will be really laying the foundation for this team. But one of the things that stands out to me, forget just the athleticism and the size and all that. We know we're running it back on offense, and we're closer to that side of the ball right now. Just the smiles, the familiarity.
A lot of happiness.
You see a lot of people who, know each other. They like working with each other, and they're here, to start to put in that work, as Kevin Stefanski said. We're about that work, and this is where it starts. But you see,
when have they been able to do that, Z? I mean, think about it. We're 66 weeks into COVID. I mean, you remember before all this started, we would go down and go get a snack, and you'd see JC and Joel playing shuffleboard.
Yep.
They haven't been able to have those moments, and you can tell that they've missed it. You can see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, one of the things that I think is so special about last year, when we talk about those 4-H talks and how they were able to bring this team together under incredibly adverse situations and circumstances, and now you're going to have as close to a return to normalcy as as you can imagine, especially thinking about where we were 1 year ago today.
Yeah.
That, I think it's only going to make this team stronger. It's only going to grow the bond amongst the guys in this organization, and it's only going to get, help, I think, in the development and the progress that we make as we add in some new wrinkles. We're saying on the offensive side of the ball, what are the wrinkles, More shot plays. How do we get more shot plays? How do we get more chunk plays? That's a huge stat in this organization. When you out-chunk play your opponent, you win more often than not. And so that's going to be something they're looking at. How do you get the ball into, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt's hands more effectively? The screen game, second half of the season, we were a dangerous screen team.
Very.
Think about the one against the Steelers. Think about it. We called a screen on third down in Jacksonville to ice that game, and Joel Bitonio gets out there and makes a block using the athleticism of your offensive line. So those could be things that we're going to see. We know, Anthony Schwartz, that speed, that's going to be a wrinkle we didn't have last year. What he's going to do, and we'll see. I'm curious to see if he goes. He's been, at the last few days of OTAs.
I was saying, I haven't seen him. I have not seen him out there.
I see him on the sideline.
Okay.
I see him standing down there with the young guys. He's with Demetric Felton, and right now maybe they're saying, look, guys, we're going ahead, and you got to earn your right to get out there and take some of these reps. But Tony Fields, we'll see. He's still in the boot, so probably we'll not see him during this period. But and he's going to have to really hit the ground running in training camp. But everybody's here, guys. Everybody's here. Anybody you want to be here is here, and I'll tell you, I didn't know what to expect from Odell Beckham. I didn't know that I'd see him running around without a brace on. We saw it on videos, but
sure,
he looks just like the Odell that used to come in here and make DBs fall down on the ground.
Yeah. Seeing old Drew Forbes back is good again.
Yeah,
Boy,
it's good to see
looks
Drew.
Big dude.
Yeah.
One other thing to note here, guys, as we're getting started, and right now he's turned the other way, but offensively right now is Alex Van Pelt is running that side of things offensively, and I noticed that Coach is kind of standing in between, but most of his attention this first half hour has been looking at the defense.
He wants to see his new
he
toys.
Wants to see his new guys.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Sure.
That's where Christmas is over there. That's the presents under the tree.
And AVP was so good last year. There's such a trust with him.
Yep.
And he was so good last year, down the stretch with Coach and the COVID and all of that. And Coach has spent most of this first half hour with his eyes on that defense. And that's something that a year ago probably wouldn't have been the case, but now he's able to. And there's such a trust with everything that's going on in this offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you're running it back, as we said. You're running it back on offense. The key players, the scheme, the coaches, it's all there. Defensively, we're talking about your top, we'll call it 15 on defense. 11 are new. 11 didn't play a snap for you last year. So that's where you're going to be looking. And, Coach Stefanski's probably even sometimes looking at his I think he's looking at his sheet right now, but yep.
Right.
All right. Like what I see there.
Yeah.
But no, this is a big, talented group. And just, they always talk about, the guys get off the bus guys. And you have plenty of guys who have that get off the bus factor that, that doesn't guarantee success, but we have right now on defense a group that we haven't seen the likes of here before. Not with the Cleveland Browns, folks. We haven't. We had good defenses.
No, I think you got to go back to probably the Belichick years, with when they had a lot of those Giants guys who were in here. Pepper was here at that time. Carl Banks was here at that time. Towards the end of Michael Dean Perry, like some of those years, is that probably the last time? I mean, certainly the 80s defenses with Clay and Frank and those guys would have been able to, you could say, boy, there's a lot of guys there, but we haven't seen anything like this in 20 years.
No, and in fact, what it reminds me of right now as I just kind of look out at it, reminds me a lot of the Jags D from a couple of years ago, where you were dominant up front. You had a couple of great corners. Remember, they brought in, A.J. Bouye from Houston. You had Ramsey. You had good safeties, although I think we're significantly better at safety than those Jags teams were. But dominant up front, a bevy of pass rushers. Who did they on that front? I want to say they had Calais, Malik Jackson, and Dante Fowler Jr.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to have Clowney and Miles and Malik Jackson. So he's the same Billings or slash that into, a Togiai or a Jordan Elliott as in the more of the pass rush role. Or heck, you end up Malik McDowell comes out here and just dominates this offseason and he could be Calais Campbell. I mean, he is built like Calais Campbell. Yep. He has got that size, and so we're getting some stretching now. This is the first time we're seeing the O and the D on the same field here to get this stretching in and just kind of looking around, looking at these guys. And
that it's interesting you bring up Jacksonville. I think that's a pretty solid and apt potential comparison there. That's a defense that gets forgotten because of how quickly it was detonated.
Yeah.
But that team came together, and one thing that team had, and I don't think it'll be a problem for this team, but I just think from the standpoint of as this defense is being built, can it get that swagger because that Jacksonville team by the end of that year, they went to Pittsburgh and won in the playoffs, and Ramsey was flying around, and they were pretty full of themselves and played that way, and they backed it up. There was a swagger to them, a juice to them, and this defense, and you think about John Johnson, who doesn't lack for it, and neither do a lot of our guys, but there is a potential for that. I like that comparison out of you. I think there's a lot of parallels that could potentially line up there with that defense in this one.
And there we're looking at it, and you see in the D line, Curtis Weaver, who we got a chance to talk to, and I think we're playing it in today's program.
Finally, you'll hear it a little later.
Hear it a little later. He and Miles have become pretty good friends. He talked about that. He and Jed Wills also have become good friends, and we're seeing right now Weaver going back and forth with Miles and Clowney. And
think about what you just said. We are standing here looking out, and you have Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney standing next to each other, stretching.
That's right. I am. By the way, remember when we said earlier there was a big dude out here, and I wasn't quite sure who that was? That was Malik Jackson.
That was Malik. Yeah,
that was Malik Jackson.
It's a stunning assembly of talent.
It certainly is, and it is. Let's go. The luminaries are out, folks, and none bigger than the one who just walked by us there.
The luminary.
In fact, yeah. That was Malik Jackson.
That was Malik Jackson. Yeah. Okay, well, that's why we hadn't seen him in person yet. So, that's why that was. Wow. Yeah, going to be fun. Going to be a lot of fun. Guys going through stretches here, folks. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll keep you updated on everything out here at mandatory minicamp. Everything we're seeing. Needless to say, it's fun. It's exciting. It's fun. There are just some realizations that I have to imagine many of you as Browns fans that are happening out here right now that hopefully you'll be able to see in full at camp. It's hard to wrap your head around the fact that this is your team. It is. It really is, because it's how far you've come so quickly is hard to wrap your head around.
2017 was not that long ago.
No.
It's not. Mm-mm. It feels like another lifetime, and when you look at this team, you'll say, huh?
Yeah.
This is an impressive group. It's an impressive coaching staff. It's an impressive organization in terms of the way they're conducting business, and that's not us saying it because we're doing Cleveland Browns Daily. That's what everybody who comes on our show, to your point earlier.
Everybody around the league.
That's what everybody around the league is saying right now about this team. And now, you don't win any points. You don't win any games right now. You don't win any points based on reading this sheet of paper, which is an impressive sheet of paper to read that has our roster on it. You do win those games come this fall, but folks, it's there. I hope we get everybody out here at training camp, because I think just getting to see this, some of the best competition you're going to see this season is going to happen here at training camp. This offense and this defense going at it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you look through the rest of the league, who has those kind of top. I mean, the Bucks, but that's why they say that the Bucks and
us, Chiefs,
but the Chiefs,
Chiefs
papers not like this.
No.
No,
it's short.
Their offense is also.
Yeah. Denver would have it if they get
impressive.
Rodgers, but there's not many. In terms of complete roster, there just aren't many that can match this one. We'll continue to keep you posted. It's a fun day out here in Berea. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
are all out here. Going. It was basically like the quarterback sneaks out. You do a pass rush, you have to stop and then go chase down the quarterback.
Yeah.
Watching Miles and Clowney run and Jordan Elliott. Jordan Elliott looks incredible right now. He does. Number 96.
You and I had to do a double check on that just to make sure that we were. Yeah, you're right. That was it. And because we were standing over there, and it's been a while because there has been some number shuffling as well.
Yep.
So we were saying, well, is that Jordan Elliott? And indeed it is. And boy, he's a guy that, again, he really looks great. And it's one of those guys where, again, there is so much talent and so many numbers in that, and we should point out, of course, if you have missed this morning, Sheldon Richardson signing with the Vikings today. So we loved our time with Sheldon,
of course,
and wish him all the best in the future. But that was one that even as we talked about it,
how
is it possible with all that is here? And that also could very well let you know the way that they feel about these young defensive tackles that are in the building.
It certainly could. And Elliott is the guy. Remember when Chris Kiffin was on with us, said that he's the one he expects to take a major step forward. I just did an exclusive for season ticket members with a member of the front office, and I said, which second-year player are you most excited about? And I said, take Grant out of it, obviously. Yeah. Jordan Elliott was the answer, and they were doing this drill, and Jordan Elliott just ran away from Myles Garrett.
He did, yeah. Yeah, he did.
And he looks like he is leaned out. He looks good. Clowney was running away from people like he was a running back. Nobody was catching Clowney. I mean, all of these guys, it's an athletic group in that D-line room, and I know Chris Kiffin is fired up about it as we see AB. We see the Great Rock right down there.
All of the luminaries.
Oh, yeah. All the luminaries are out and about in the mix. And so it's exciting as you're seeing everybody get out there. And I love these shirts with the team on the back.
Yeah, Wood looking strong in that. I like
of course.
Yeah,
yes, he is.
Right.
Got the little camo. I think a little acknowledgement there for
a little bit
for the peanut gallery. Yeah, that's right.
For us. Well, yeah,
I believe that you've got that right.
He speaks some of the Kentucky elixir, so that's fine. You can have those things in common with luminaries from time to time. But this is fun. This is really fun, and again, this is just very entry-level stuff in terms of what we're seeing. But it's just cool to see, and we're seeing Baker and the quarterbacks working just some basic handoff drills with the running backs right now. Everyone just kind of getting loosened up. But what really is stunning is just the look of it. The line of it passes the look test, or you've won when you got off the bus. That this team is going to win a lot of games getting off the bus.
Yeah, it certainly does look good. And they're going through individual drills now. So they're doing ball security drills earlier, which is something that is stressed at the beginning of every single practice. And now you've got the receivers doing some drills, the quarterbacks and the running backs doing some handoffs, and now some swing passes out there. The tight ends going through theirs, and then the O-line in an unbelievable contraption where they've got to stay low to maintain their blocks. Down there doing some offensive line stuff. And for the D, you're broken up in your DBs, your linebackers, and your D-line. And what I think is stunning to me from where we're standing is the athleticism in the D-line. And it's Elliott, it's Togi, I can move. Marvin Wilson can move.
Yep.
Worst attack, Clowney, Miles, you name it. Weave's moving, number 59. Speaking of, Mr.
Play
Weaver.
That for you in just a few moments here on the program. He is moving. And is another thing, and this is, I said this yesterday because I haven't had a chance to see him yet. You were out here seeing the rookies, and so you were able to see him. This is my first time out here since training camp last year, and my first time getting a look at some of these rookies. And when Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the word that it is an explosive, his feet, just in a warm-up drill, his feet are like pistons. Like they just fire at a rate and a tempo that you just – it's so explosive. I mean, just such an explosive athlete. Everything, he's walking around. There's no pads, obviously. He's walking around in shorts and a T-shirt with a helmet on. But you can still tell quick twitch, right? Like you can see. Point made. His quick twitch is just insane.
I was talking to somebody on the coaching staff, and I was just saying after watching some of the OTAs, I go, even in OTAs. He looks like he moves at a different speed than a lot of really, really good athletes. His ability as a linebacker to diagnose where the run play is going and then beat the running back to his track is kind of – it looks bizarre. And I think once you get him harnessed in and once he knows exactly what he's doing now, one of the things that, again, Coach Tarver told me, he doesn't make the same mistake twice, and he wants to be right all the time. He's got the dedication. He is clearly gifted.
What is that?
Clearly.
at this level, everyone is so the level of athleticism is so elite. I mean, it's just these are the greatest athletes in the world. And then you add to it, though, that the one thing that you don't know if they have, it's that intangible thing.
The lifestyle.
Like, do you have the lifestyle? Do you have the willingness to want to get better, to forever work? Do you have a thirst for knowledge? Do you want to maximize what you can be? And it seems that he gulps all aspects of that.
He does. He does. I mean,
it's early, but
I've said it many times. The most impressive rookie I've talked to in 9 years. I know that there are others in the organization that feel similarly. Not to say that other people aren't impressive. He just seems to be cut from a very, very special cloth, not only in his abilities, but in his makeup, in his mindset, and who he is as a human being. And so I can tell you the coaches already love him and are raving about him. And, you know, the sky's going to be the limit, right? And that's what's so crazy about this whole set is, you know, he's got to right now fight for playing time. Anthony Walker Jr. has been a starter and a productive player in this league on an elite defense in Indianapolis. You got Phillips, who was here a year ago, that they expect big things from. He's the other guy from a second-year standpoint that they think is going to take a massive leap forward, is Jacob Phillips. So you've got Malcolm Smith played well for you, Taki, Mac Wilson. I mean, it is a very, very good and deep linebacker room all of a sudden, which is one that, you know, Owusu-Koramoah, they didn't have a scenario in which this happened, that you got Newsome and Owusu-Koramoah.
No.
And then when it comes to Tony Fields, they couldn't believe that the guy as productive as Fields with his movement skills and his ability to play in space was on the board. They had to take him. So it was a position that we told you guys before the draft. They felt a lot better about their linebackers than the rest of the world. That was a fact. That wasn't speculation. That was a fact. But the way things broke and fell, it ended up being what they ended up getting 2 more guys for that room, and one of them who certainly looks like he has the makings of being a stud for a long, long time in Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
It's such an attention getter seeing him in that 28 too. You know, I mean, it's just you're not used to seeing people at the linebacker in that 28, so it jumps out like you just notice him immediately. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very, very fun, and it's cool to see a lot of the things you're seeing out here. Just basic stuff. Six just ripping it down the seam to hoop on a little throw there. That was cool to see, and just getting to see some guys bounce around a little bit, and a little bit of a taste of what you can expect in the fall. And I have to imagine, like all of us, right, in society, we're all starting to get back to where, you feel like we're getting close to where we were, whatever our new normal, right? We're heading close to there, and everyone's getting back out. We're going to restaurants, going to baseball games, going out and seeing things, and certainly hopeful and very optimistic that we'll have crowds here, and we'll have full crowds at First Energy and all those things. And it feels like it's tangible now. You're seeing playoffs, and you're watching full crowds and NHL and NBA, and it's awesome to see. And I imagine it's a relief for these guys too. I mean, they have lived in a world that has been very different for the last 60 weeks. And, well, not so much the last, but the whole season was different. And now to be able – this is the first time they've all been together, really, in this manner. You got to go back to last year. Almost 18 months ago, end of the 2019 season? Because nothing's been normal since.
Semi-normal, yeah. I mean, it has been a long time.
Pre-Stefanski. For sure, pre-AB.
And I can tell you, this is very businesslike. They are about the work here today. They are putting it in and having some fun as well. Having a little bit of fun as well. Good job by Austin Hooper putting the brakes on right there as they ran a little flag route, a beautiful throw from Bake. But, yeah, this is as normal as it feels. Now, training camp kind of felt that way, but there were masks, I want to say, the entirety of training camp.
There were masks. And you remember the barriers?
Barriers.
You remember like they
separating?
Yeah, there were masks everywhere. Everybody on the sidelines had to wear masks.
They couldn't get in a huddle together.
No, they couldn't huddle. They had to stay out. It was like, you were trying to meet people without actually being able to be in close contact. The meeting room situation, very, very different. No, I mean, it's been an awful long time since we've had this kind of feel of relative normalcy here. Yeah. So it's got to be a release for them too, to be able to just see him bouncing around. And I'll be honest with you, very candid, in my life, we're about to see Odell Beckham Jr. run a route and catch a pass from Baker Mayfield. And in a million years, I didn't think I'd see that today.
Okay. 2 things. I was just watching his route prior to that one and thinking in my mind, no clue that we were going to see this today.
No chance.
In fact, I feel I'm stunned.
Me too. Looks like there was
This was week 7.
Yeah.
of the season.
I know.
So that's got to be.
I mean, he just
late
ran a
October.
post, made a hard cut on the left leg, and
what I was going to say is if I lived under a rock for the last year and knew nothing,
in a cave in Burma like Peterman,
exactly, and came out and this was the first time, and you told me he tore his ACL in week 7 of last year, I'd say, no, he didn't.
No.
I would not know that he was
Get
injured.
out the front door.
Yeah, I would not know that
No
he was
chance.
injured at all. He looks.
No.
That's as impressive as a lot of these other guys look and as exciting as a lot of these guys look on the defense. That's probably the most stunning thing that I've seen today is that Odell Beckham Jr., I would have no clue without being there in person to see it happen and know that he didn't play the final 8+ games and into the playoffs last year for the Browns because of a torn ACL. I'd have no clue he was hurt.
No,
none.
The work that he has put in is really to get to the point where he can do what we just watched him do is stunning. I mean, nothing short of, and it's a testament to his work ethic and his hunger to get back on the field and get back to being what he was. And coming out here today, I thought we'd see him in a bucket hat, walking around, maybe some walkthroughs. I had no inclination that we would get to see him running around the way that he just did, and as you and I just witnessed on that one.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing, to be honest with you.
Really is. All right, we're gonna take a quick timeout. Coming up next, one of the guys we've talked a lot about this offseason, kind of lost in the mix because there's been so many signings and so many stars come in here, but a guy that we thought we stole and still feel like we stole a year ago is Curtis Weaver. Z went one-on-one with him. We will have that for you coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Like you stole him last year that Andrew Berry did. You get him. He's here. He's transformed his body. He's focused and ready in what will be a very, very heated competition in terms of who plays on that defensive line, who makes the team on that defensive line. We've been waiting to talk to Curtis for a long time. We get to today. Here's Nathan one-on-one with Curtis Weaver.
Very happy now.
You're down.
You've heard a lot about
How long is this,
Cleveland
Nick?
Browns daily, and we're excited to get to see him in this mini.
This is 10 minutes.
In those OTAs as well. But Curtis Weaver joins the show now. And Curtis, what a ride this has been for you. And I'm sure not the journey that you expected coming out of Boise State, where you set conference records for sacks and were a dominant performer. You get drafted by the Dolphins. They make a mistake. All of a sudden, you're a Cleveland Brown. But you really didn't get to participate on the field last year due to that injury. What was kind of that whole whirlwind of going from college, getting drafted, being on a team, then all of a sudden being a Cleveland Brown, coming here knowing you couldn't play but could at least get into the system?
It was just, I feel like in the beginning, it was just a roller coaster. The roller coaster started with me just with the Miami Dolphins, just practicing there. And then it took a turn going down when I got the injury and then came in Cleveland. And I feel like the roller coaster is just going up from there. Been rehabbing out here, been in every meeting, been talking to some vets, and just knowing the team throughout that whole last year.
And Curtis, you can get after the quarterback. 34 sacks, Mountain West Conference record, the only defensive player in college football to ever average 9.5 sacks or better during a 3-year stint. So you have a knack for it. You have a knack for getting the quarterback. When did you know that this was something you were pretty darn good at?
It was literally in college, probably that first year, transitioning from my redshirt year into actually my first year of playing. Just pass rushing, getting the body a little smaller when I was in college, and then just starting to turn that edge. That was really when I knew like I was actually a pass rusher. So,
yeah, you certainly were. By the way, I don't know if you know this, first player to receive grades above 90 from Pro Football Focus as a pass rusher since Myles Garrett at Texas. Now your team. So you guys are in rarefied air together there. What's it been like kind of being in the room with Myles and knowing how many camp, Jadeveon Clowney and Tack McKinley, first rounders, and that room, so much talent, so much excitement, and you guys have a great coach in Coach Kiffin. What's it kind of been like for you, when Myles came back to the OTAs, getting to be in there with him?
Yeah, it was just great. It was I became a sponge when Myles came back, when Clowney was on calls and things like that. It was just, you see these guys every Sunday, put it on the field, get to the quarterback, make plays beyond that. Great guys off the field, and you just want to like take lessons from them, take little hints from them, and like just be a sponge at the end of the day. That's what I'm at the moment, just listening to them. They've been through everything, so you just want to follow in great guys' footsteps like that are successful in the league.
And you're right, and now you get a chance to play alongside them, and when you think about what this defense could be and the style of it, you like to get after the quarterback. Coach Kiffin likes to get after the quarterback. Joe Woods likes to get after the quarterback. Is it pretty exciting that at least it fits kind of what you do well, kind of right out of the gate, to give you a real chance to compete, and that's what this is all about?
Exactly. It's just doing my part. Whatever coach asks me to do, I'm gonna do, and like just finding my mode on the team, really where I fit in.
Listen, I have a vision in my mind, Curtis. 3rd and long, Myles inside, Clowney inside, Tack outside on one side, you outside on the other. What are they gonna do? Pick your point. Let's go.
Yeah, we got some players up front.
No doubt. And you're one of them. And one of the things we've heard about you is we've talked you up, and I've gotten to talk to people in this organization, the scouting department, on the coaching staff, and all I keep hearing about, transformed his body. I don't know if you've heard that from the people. You've transformed your body. What did you work on over the last year to transform your body? And what do you feel physically about where you are right now?
I feel physically right now, I feel good. We can play tomorrow. I can play tomorrow. But transferring the body, it just went down to eating well, because I was ready. Like, I was always doing the 2-a-days, always doing the workouts. Like, I was never slacking on workouts. It was just I wasn't eating well back in the day. So now I'm eating well. I'm on meals and things like that, and I'm just taking that every day by day. Really, eating right. You can't cheat. Not a lot of cheat days in my system. So, and it's still right now, I'm still trying to eat right. Like every day, like it's a new thing. Trying new things out. What's gonna be good. It's just being consistent with it. That's what I really figured out through this whole like transforming.
What did you have to cut out that you loved, and what is something that you're eating now that you didn't know you were going to love, but you're like, I like this and it's good for me?
Something I like, I don't know. I really like a lot of things. Like, I don't know why. I just don't like beans. Like, that's the thing with me. Like, I eat a lot of things. So that's probably my one flaw. But something I cut out was like a lot of rice, me being half Filipino.
Okay.
Rice was a big thing in my family. So like having that with every meal and changing, like I can't eat rice every day. Or if I do, it got to be like a short amount.
Interesting. So right, because that's a staple in a lot of the Filipino cuisine.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so a little bit of a change there. But do you feel good? Do you feel different? I know when you look in the mirror, I saw you out there. You're looking jacked. You're looking ripped. So is that something that's new for you? And are you liking what you see and how you feel?
Yeah, I feel great. Like I said, every day I'm working on my body to get better and transforming. Still, we're not done. I feel like, but I just feel better. Like when I was training, every week we'll do new numbers, we'll do new tests, and every week I was improving. So like it just shows the growth of how my body was taking over.
That's awesome. What's something about you off the field that you enjoy doing?
Okay. So me and anybody on the radio, me and Jedrick Willis we play Warzone a lot together, Call of Duty, and we'll take on any duo. Looking for NFL duos out there that want to take us on. We think we're the best, and that's what we do outside the football field if we're not with Francis.
So you're still getting your competition. You're working with Jed, which is good. Do you guys ever talk about, you got this Call of Duty bond. Do you also talk about, hey, when you're doing this on a pass set, or hey, when you're doing this on a pass rush, this is what I'm thinking? That's probably a good person to be close with, because you're going to learn a lot about each other's trades, as it were.
Exactly. Like when we're on the game, we can't be talking about the game all the time. And so football eventually gets in the conversations and we talk about it. But it's just time and place really with me and Jed. We have a great relationship, so we know when to talk about stuff, and just really time and place really.
All right, I'm going to ask you a tough question now. It's one-on-one. You guys can't be a duo anymore. You and Jed are dropped in there. Who's walking out?
One-on-one, gunfight for gunfight.
That's right.
I think I got Jed. Jed came to my house and upgraded my computer a little bit, so I was already almost better than him. So with that being said, I think I'm fully better than him now.
Oh, he would be sad. No, he gave you a technological advantage. Just pushed you over the top there. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, Kurt, what do you?
A little boost.
I like that. And listen, those games are fun. You get to compete again. It gets your heart gets when there's you're down to like you and another duo. It gets the adrenaline gets going, doesn't it?
No, yeah, I'd be sweating in my chair. I got to turn the fan on and stuff when you got to clutch it up for the team.
I love it. So what are you most excited about here with this mini camp? And, what is something maybe you've learned from Coach Kiffin that you've really applied that, you have a chance to really compete, make this roster, and hopefully earn some snaps on the field in a very talented room?
Looking at training camp, like just watching the team success last year and wanting to be a part of that. It's team first here. And it's just like you just want to ride for your team when you see like the success going up, and then learn from Coach Kiffin. It's just playing fast and playing smart with him. Like nothing too crazy. He's getting us right every day, and he's doing his job.
What have you thought of the Browns fans? Because Curtis, you came here, as we know, the Dolphins made their decision after you got that injury. The Browns picked you up immediately, claimed you, and I'm sure you felt it. You haven't played a snap for the Browns, and Browns fans already love you. What do you think of the passion? I don't know if it's similar, like it was at Boise State for you, but what do you think of the passion of Browns fans and just the knowledge that, that everybody that comes in, they are fired up about?
Nah, I kind of used the similarity. When I first got here, it was a game. I was in the suite, and Boise and Cleveland being kind of alike, like a little cold weather.
Yep.
Little like passionate group, not a big city like marketing city like that. But we take pride. They take pride with what they do. And it was I believe we were playing the Eagles, and it was raining, and we're watching in the suite, and we look down right below us, and it's just a bunch of Browns guys with their shirts off, yelling in the rain, and it was just showing like, oh my gosh, like they're here like they're here for us 100% of the way.
Yeah, they most certainly are. And I was, by the way, not in a suite for that game. I was out there, and my rain gear soaked through that day, which I didn't think possible. It was crazy, man. It was crazy.
It looked rough.
Curtis, we talked a little bit about what you like to do off the field, obviously on the field. What's something that you want Browns fans to know about you? Doesn't have to be football related at all, but just something you would want people to know about you so that when they look down, they see Curtis Weaver on the field, they know something about the person as well that you want to stick with them.
I feel like energy and loyalty. Like every day I come into the building, I try to bring I try to do my part and bring life into the D line, get the room going, get guys smiling and things like that. And then loyalty, like I'm riding for the team. Like it's always gonna be team first for me. I'm whatever we gotta do, whatever I gotta do for the team to help them win and be successful. That's what I gotta do.
Curtis, it has been a pleasure. You are somebody we're certainly all going to be keeping our eye on here. Wishing you the best of luck in this serious competition and hope to see you be a part of this team, make some big plays, and do what you do best. Go get that quarterback.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
All right, you got it. That was Curtis Weaver. We'll be back with more Cleveland Browns Daily right after this.
Boy, just imagine kicking back in the evenings in your very own hot tub. Boy, today'd be perfect for it, too. A little cool, perfect night for a hot tub. Now imagine being able to afford one at Northeast Factory Direct. They buy hot tubs by the truckload. You get a 6-person hot tub with a lounger and the lights. You still afford your other summer activities. You think about owning a hot tub that would be a pain. Well, it's not at Northeast Factory Direct. Their hot tubs come with an exclusive hard top cover. You don't have to worry about safety or convenience. I've seen these things. They're incredible how easy they are and how safe you feel and secure you feel with them. Plus, you're going to get a lifetime warranty on that cover. That is key. You'll never have to replace it. It's there forever. Looking for a way to stay active? They have the amazing swim spas. It's like a hot tub. You can adjust the jets, give you a gentle current. You can use them year-round. Great way to stay fit, stay in shape. See yourself. Check it out. West 140th Street in Cleveland, Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, or Freeway Drive in Macedonia, or shop online at northeastfactorydirect.com. So we have some offense and defense work going on right now, Z, and we see the double deuce out there. And we saw, before we got into this, there was a moment you and I were over watching, and he closed on a bag like a Tesla Plaid Model S. Sub 2 seconds on that. He looks sensational. Sensational. Yeah. And I told you, put him on a shelf. Like
ludicrous speed. You've seen enough. I mean, just the caliber of athleticism that he's displaying. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is displaying. It's honestly kind of stunning to see. And you're looking out right now, Browns fans, and we're looking at Grant Delpit out there. We're looking at Newsome out there. Tack McKinley is out there with this group as well. Anthony Walker Jr., Troy Hill. Just those are all new faces.
All new guys.
New guys out there, and just seeing them. And they're going through these team portions, I would say, at a fairly delicate pace. Nobody. This is far from full speed. Just kind of taking a look, running the going through, and sometimes the quarterback is just kind of going through, not throwing the ball, going through his progressions, going through his reads. But to see, the players of consequence out there, and to see, I think the big one to me is to see Grant out there in team drills. Greedy is out there in team drills working with the starting unit opposite Denzel Ward on the outside. And, they've had, for the most part, we're seeing now with this Hill and Newsome getting outside work, but those two have gotten a lot of nickel work as well inside with Denzel and Greedy on the outsides.
Yeah, that jumps out at you certainly. And when we first saw it, so that first defensive unit, and of course Miles was down. And don't read into this. I mean, this is mandatory, but just in terms of the first guys who were out there, it was Greedy and Denzel on the outside. It was Ronnie and John Johnson the third at safeties. Your linebackers were Taki and Mack and Walker, and then your defensive front would have been Clowney, Malik, Billings.
And Porter Gustin.
That would have been your 11 when it started in base. But we're moving a lot of guys in right now, and obviously there's nothing to read in on this. No. Just curious to see who runs out. And Troy Hill ran out that first time at the slot corner, and he's out there right now getting some work with Greg Newsome on the outside. And it's just really cool to see, and it's fun to see guys running around and just to see them firing a little bit. And I got to tell you that the three things that you really wanted to see, and you just wanted to see him run around, was Owusu-Koramoah, just because I hadn't.
Yep.
But then it was Delpit, and it was Odell, and I've seen enough right now to lead me to believe that they are headed very much in the right direction.
And what's so fun about this is that you stopped at 3, and you could say we're seeing Jadeveon Clowney run around for the first time in a Browns uniform.
Nothing to see here. No big deal.
Right. And so there's a lot to see. The Odell. Folks, if you want my big takeaway from today,
that's it.
Yeah. It's that Odell doesn't look like he was ever injured, and that's honestly it kind of blows my mind. That tells you a little bit of something about the work ethic that he put into his rehab and his recovery. Same thing with Grant Delpit. You wouldn't if you said
no way you'd know.
You'd say, oh yeah, he's coming off of an All-Pro rookie season where he just took the league by storm because he's nasty. We didn't even mention John Johnson, who we're seeing now, who just. You talk about smooth. He's just silky out there in everything that he does. We've got Austin Hooper and Clowney fake boxing, and Austin Hooper saying, I'm hitting a step-back jumper on you right there. This is just –
It's fun.
It's fun. Everywhere you look are guys that have either been to the Pro Bowl or guys that, you feel like when you watch them, okay, these guys could be going to the Pro Bowl. And, this is a tremendously composed team in terms of the athleticism and the profile. So many of the guys that even were late-round picks or undrafted free agent pickups were 5 stars coming out of high school. But there are guys amongst even this highly decorated, highly athletic group that stand out. And I think Owusu-Koramoah and Delpit, their movement, their explosion, their closing speed, even Newsome as well, they stand out seeing Curtis Weaver on the field right now for the first time with Tommy Togiai next to him on the inside, which is fun to see some of these young guys as well. But, folks, this is you're in for a treat. I mean, I can't wait for the one-on-ones in training camp, the 7-on-7, all of it. It is going to be a lot of fun. And you said put Delpit on the put them all on the shelf. Let's just go to Kansas City.
Yeah, you really want. You just don't want to see anything. And there's nothing you can do. You got to get guys right. But yeah, you just don't want to see any sort of, because it's really encouraging. The Odell and Grant stuff is really encouraging because those are two guys that if things had gone differently for them, how different would last year have been? And we accomplished a lot. But if you had Grant Delpit all of last season, what would this feel like for him? If Odell Beckham Jr. were able to play in this offense as it actually started to hit on cylinders, what would his season have looked like? Like, those are things that were taken from us. Grant, we never even got to enjoy it all. At least we got to see Odell a little bit and explode the way he did early on in the season, certainly against Dallas. But, we haven't gotten to see this yet. And so it's all now, you're getting a little feel for it, and you just see what I think, honestly, is just roster construction in a master class. Because what's remarkable, Z, is as John Johnson and Ronnie Harrison step off, Grant Delpit and Sheldrick Redwine come in. And, we haven't even talked about Sheldrick. Sheldrick has played well when he plays.
Huge interceptions
right?
down the stretch.
He's played well.
Huge.
When he's been called upon, he's played well. But the depth of talent as linebackers shuffle out, others who can play shuffle in. You just sent, in a base, you sent Greedy and Denzel out, and in came Hill and Newsome, who's a first-round pick and the best slot corner in the NFL from a year ago. So, that's really what it is. It's not just the top end. It's the depth of talent. We've talked about it on the offensive and defensive line. It's just a stunning depth of talent. It protects your roster.
And you need it.
Yeah.
The sad reality of the National Football League is you're going to need to have that depth. And so for the Browns, this is one of the great things that they did in terms of assembling this roster is you have this top-end talent. And, it almost feels like because Grant Greedy didn't play, you're adding them into the mix too. And, some of these alignments we're doing where you're seeing Greedy and Denzel kind of just pressing up on the outside, and you say, goodness gracious, the speed that we're going to have outside, the speed we can put on the field. They put Owusu-Koramoah in there with Phillips at linebacker, and you're saying just the speed that we're going to have and the ability to get involved with that is now we get into a special teams period because, as the Browns well know, this is a 3-phase game, and, Mike Prefer is going to have these guys ready and getting everybody down here who's going to participate in the special teams. You have some of the guys who aren't, moving off to the side in their spots, but this is where a lot of guys who are fighting, this is where they have a chance to make the roster. A guy like, let's take Demetric Felton, for example.
Yeah.
You can play some running back for me. You can play some receiver for me. You can play special teams as a returner and as a guy who's a gunner as well. That's where he's going to have to do it. He's going to have to get it done in some of these special team situations. And Tony Fields, when he gets back out here, the chances of him getting on the field at linebacker this year are pretty slim.
Pretty slim.
But he's going to have to make this roster because of what he can do in special teams. And so I think that's going to be one of the things that we're really paying attention to throughout camp, is trying to keep an eye on that aspect, because that's how guys are going to make this team. And when your team's as loaded as it is, when you have that depth, that's how you get onto the field. Sometimes you have to earn your way onto the field by your special teams performance and what you're able to do there.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you see in the we're going to see some hammer booms, some punts here a little bit as everyone's kind of phased into this. Donovan Peoples-Jones back there to return them, and he did such a great job back there a year ago, being able to track and be able to put us in good position, and going to be interested to see Anthony Schwartz. We see him off to the side here now, and being held out for precautionary reasons, obviously, and you feel like that's nothing to worry about, but. That's an element to the game there with him, which is something that you think could certainly be unlocked in the return game when you're talking about the fastest guy in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how, when you're thinking about being, one of the receivers at the bottom of the roster, you've got to be able to contribute on special teams. So for Schwartz, that's going to be somewhere where you hope that he can make an impact. We see Ryan Switzer out there. This guy's been productive in the league as a slot receiver and a returner in the past. JoJo Natson back there as well. But that's where you're going to see guys trying to compete. They got Greg Newsome already working out there, doing a little bit of gunner work. You think about the speed we can have on these teams, and that part of it I think is pretty exciting. And I know Mike Prefer is a lot of the guys. You want to be Coach Preef's best friend. You want to make an impression on him so that he can say, look, we need you. And one of the things I noticed just right out of the gate here is Nowusu Koromoa doing some teams. Anthony Walker Jr. was out there with what you'd call the quote-unquote first unit that they line up with the special teams group.
JJ3's right there.
You love seeing.
He's in there. He
was
in there.
You love seeing these guys, right, that are saying, okay, I'm coming here. Yes, I'm quote-unquote. I've been a very productive player. I'm on my second. I'm getting paid now, and I'm going to go out there and still work and be a part of what we're doing. This is just fun. It's fun to see this team. It's just fun to see this team. This is Browns fans. I can't wait for you guys to get out here. I can't wait for you to be out here at training camp. And again, nothing's won in training camp, but you're right. Look at JJ3 right in there in the mix with this team's unit with Owusu Koromoa, Mack, Jacob Phillips.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive setup right there. The guys
an athletic group.
Right
Ronnie
Hill and
Harrison
Ronnie on the outside.
Jason,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
pretty impressive group of humans right there, my friend. Yeah, it's good. This has to be a long time coming. I imagine. This is something that think about how long Coach had to wait for this.
Oh yeah, he's got to be. His Zoom today, I'm sure. We're going to get about a 1% rise in his emotion, which is really indicative of total jubilation.
Right, I was going to say that's a 1% would be incredible.
Yeah.
So many inspiring people walking by as well as we're up here. People that inspire the emotion out of you, and so that's good to see too.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's
all
really
coming
cool.
together.
It is. It's been fun, and it's we have today, we have tomorrow to get a real good look at this group, and I can't imagine how welcome this was for Coach and for these players on the team, and kind of just get back out there on the field. And we heard from guys this week, I missed ball. Time to get back out there and just go chase the ball around a little bit, and you're getting that today.
Here's something that's crazy to me as I'm just standing here is that, they talk about how small Owusu Koromoa is, and I put that in air quotes as I said that. He was standing right next to Porter Gustin and didn't look small. Porter Gustin is, according to this, 6'5", 260.
No. No. I don't think – I would tell you this. Whatever apprehensions there were for other teams around Jeremiah Owusu-Koromoa.
Thank you.
And that's your problem.
Part of me feels like Isaiah Simmons paid us back a little bit for our love.
You might have been right.
He said, I'm going to sacrifice
my
a little
sacrifice
bit for your benefit.
Yep, because Arizona wasn't sure what to do with him, although it did come along later in the year. But they weren't sure really what to do with him for much of the season. Obviously now he'll be a big part of what they're going to do defensively with him and Zaven Collins, but that there was all of this talk around Owusu-Koromoa leading into the draft that where do you play him? Well, where you play him is on the football field.
On the field.
That's where you play him. And you just let him play. And I don't know that there's anything just watching the tape and in the lead up to it, and you and I started talking about him in January if we were ever in the first round, if we were ever just going to take a guy who can just be an elite trait guy, he was the guy we mentioned time and time again. So we've watched a lot on him, and just seeing him out here right now, I can't imagine a single thing that he's limited by.
No.
I mean, he's really impressive.
He's very fun to watch, and Delpit we see him strolling around. He is also fun to watch, and just
Grant Delpit's height is pretty. I don't know what he's listed at, but there aren't many people he looks up at.
No, they say 6'3", 210, and I would say
he's every bit of it.
Given that I'm 6'4", 210, let me tell you that there is zero about my physique that resembles his.
You're a rangy athlete too, though. You're rangy. Don't sell yourself short.
That's fine. I'm a tremendous slouch. He would be. I mean, I think he's at least 220. He looks
about as put together as can be, and there's just a size to him that's really impressive. It's been fun. This has been a great little reminder of kind of seeing in person what this thing is all going to start to look like.
So right now he's standing next to Javante Moffitt, who's listed as 5'11", 215, and he's clearly, the height part makes sense. But if you're trying to tell me that Javante Moffitt is carrying around more weight than Grant Delpit,
I don't think so.
I'm going to go ahead and.
I don't believe you have that.
I don't believe that you do.
No.
Have that.
I'm telling you, there aren't that many people he looks up to.
No,
from a height ways on the roster, there aren't that many.
Well,
it might be
get into the line, right? You got to get into the line.
You got to get in there to find some of the big boys that he matches up with from a height standpoint. So, look, this has been really fun. It's been a thrill to be back out here, and it's great to see the guys out here working. I'm sure it's exciting for them as well. There's still so much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. explain what we saw because it was an exclusive thing that you're only going to get here on the program.
That's right.
And it was his hard work that got it done. Huge P.
Huge P.
Out of Gibbe.
The Ness. Can't believe it. It's great to be out here, and it's great to be able to bring this to you guys. We're going to do it again tomorrow. We're going to run it back just like this. Again, the only place to hear that, Cleveland Browns Daily. And, great job by Gibbe and Arella also, and just the great staff here with the Browns to accommodate getting us up here so we could run a radio show from outside on, somewhat short notice. And so here we are enjoying it, and it's been this has been a treat.
90 seconds.
My big takeaway, Odell. Never would have known he has an injury.
No.
Grant looks great. Usu Koromoa looks great. Clowney, Miles on the field together. It's just
there's so much to. It's hard to even put it in. I mean, I was going through the things that I was looking to see, and I didn't even mention Clowney. But then I'll never forget early in the show when you pointed over there, and I saw him lined up standing next to Miles. You went, my God, that's right. Jadeveon Clowney's here.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a stunning semblance of talent. That has occurred, and to see it just all out here running around having a good time in the middle of June on a picture-perfect day. The good Lord smiled on us because this is a hell of a day.
Does it look like this is the first time they got together?
No.
It was very smooth.
And I think you talked about the H's last year, and we talked about, no, I think there's a lot that's been going on those Zooms, and Coach Stefanski's an expert at putting things together. We saw it last year, and you can see it here. Even through screens, they have really come together. This was fun. It's really fun. We'll do it again tomorrow here on the program. The next